that elephants are the only animal on Earth that cannot jump?
And so, next thing I want to ask you, you are a mum of 3.
Yes.
2 boys, 1 girl.
Yes.
And you had a water birth. Well, you have an interesting birth story, right?
Yes. Actually, I had 3 water births.
3 water births.
And the third one, my youngest, was born at home. So he had a home water birth.
Wow.
Yes.
But not in this home.
Not in this home, in my previous home.
Where was that? In your previous home. So you had the bathtub set up in
Yeah, it was an inflatable bathtub. It was the most amazing experience.
Yeah.
You know, I really just wanted to have my kids with me, and I had just lost my dad 2 weeks prior to the birth of the youngest, and I really wanted my mom, I wanted my brother, I wanted my kids, I wanted my husband, I wanted everybody who loved me and knew my dad at the same time to be in the room with me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was the most magical experience.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
breathe the baby out?
It was hypnobirthing.
Was
so
it?
It's not painful. Birthing is not painful. It's an experience. It's surges that you feel, and you breathe your baby out, and you're visualizing the whole process. You're just single-mindedly focusing on that.
Yeah.
And that's the basis of hypnobirthing,
Yeah.
I think.
And it worked for you?
It worked. It worked brilliantly.
Wow. So you don't remember pain?
I don't remember pain. I remember stretching. I remember needing to relax. And I remember just breathing and being just calm. So none of that screaming, bloody murder. No squeezing my husband till he's blue and black. You know?
Neighbours calling the police. There are strange screams coming from next door.
That's enough that
No,
song.
they didn't even know.
No, they had no. They just knew that there were a lot of shoes outside of the door, and something.
Pre-COVID.
Yes, definitely not 5 people. But yes, it was what it was.
Amazing.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. And your kids, they remember it?
They do. I mean, of course, I remind them of it.
Yeah.
They were still little. They were only 4 and 2 at that time. But we've got pictures, and we've got pictures plastered on the walls and everything. Yes.
Amazing. And then the first 2 were water births, but hospital-based.
Hospital-based water births. I'm not sure they do them anymore, to be honest.
They do. Which hospital?
Mount Alvernia.
No, they do, I don't think they do it there, but at NUH and Thompson you can do water birth.
Still? Okay.
But there's quite strict protocols on what you have to do, and you have to have a nurse sit with you the whole time. So the whole like relaxing things, not. I don't think the nurse is sat in the water with you, but
no,
it's a nurse that you wouldn't probably have met before. So
yes,
I think
because they go on shifts too, right?
So I think it kind of takes away a bit of the reason why someone might want a water birth.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing. So you'd recommend water birth?
I would recommend speaking to a doctor. I would recommend speaking to a doctor who would then tell you whether you're suitable for a home birth.
Yeah.
And if you're suitable for a home water birth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one doctor who I know who does both.
Yeah. So you could hit up Dr Mythili if you want to know the name of that doctor.
I'll give you the recommendations.
Slide into her DMs. It's amazing. I think it is amazing, and I feel like it's very natural. Well, it is very natural, but kind of how nature intended it. So the fact that you can't remember pain and you can just remember surges and that kind of tunnel vision of I've got a job to do and I'm getting it done.
Yes.
Did you do hypnobirthing for your first 2?
Absolutely.
Oh, you did? And it worked each time?
It worked every single time.
Because I did hypnobirthing, but I wouldn't necessarily say I used it on the day of giving birth.
Yeah?
I used it in the weeks leading up to it. I was listening to my, what are they called?
The affirmations.
Affirmations.
Yes.
And
the CD as well?
Yeah, and as I was like walking up and down East Coast Park, I was listening to my affirmations, but on the day itself, I think I lost sight of the hypnobirthing.
Did you listen to it before you were sleeping as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so...
And I would always drop off to sleep. Like it did put me in a sleep, yeah.
Your subconscious was working while you were sleeping.
Yeah, but when I was giving birth, there were a few moments. I don't remember them. It's my husband that reminds me.
Is that right?
When I say to people, "Oh, it wasn't that bad."
See, maybe that's what it is.
Like, maybe that's what it. Maybe your husband's like,
yeah,
right. The neighbours were calling the police.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's the most important thing to have the birth that you actually want.
Yeah.
Or having plan B that you want as well.
Yeah, because plan A doesn't always go to plan. And people, I think, especially people that have had a child, are very quick to say, if you say, I had this to myself, oh, I really want a water birth. I had people say, you don't get a medal for not having an epidural. Like, people are quite quick to pull you down if you say that you want a certain type of birth, because it didn't work out that way for them, and often it doesn't work out that way. But it's okay to have that plan, and then have a plan B that you're also okay with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so, and having plans like this empowers you.
Yes.
Because after all, your birth only just lasts for a day maximum, maybe a day and a half.
Yeah.
But what comes after that? You see, you're going to be beating yourself up if your birth didn't go the way you wanted it to go. And then you have to, debrief with all of those emotions, and then you have to work through all of those things again. And then also be able to connect with your baby that way. So that's one of the things that I see a lot of, both birth traumas and breastfeeding, and it's so interconnected, really.
Yeah. So someone's breastfeeding journey can be negatively impacted by the type of birth that they had.
There you go.
Yeah. And so you work with I'm going to get this right.
Which one?
The advocacy
At the
of Singapore.
Group. Yes. So I'm the vice president of the Association for Breastfeeding Advocacy. So
which is ABBA.
Abbas. Yes.
Okay.
And what we do is we run the baby-friendly hospital initiative in the maternity hospitals. So all of the private hospitals, except for Thomson and Mount Alvernia, and all the public hospitals are BFHI certified. So it doesn't actually govern birth, but it governs everything else. So pre-birth and after birth, right?
Okay.
So it helps mothers make decisions on feeding their baby. So the various means and methods of feeding their baby. It gives mothers an opportunity to decide how they want to feed their baby, and why. And it kind of gives them that additional knowledge to be able to make decisions, really. So with BFHI, you'll find that there's very little baby and mother separation. There are no bottles and teats in the hospitals, and it just gives the mothers education to make the decisions.
Yeah.
So it tells mothers how breastfeeding is important, and how a baby shouldn't be given anything else but breast milk.
Okay.
And that's really important, because a lot of mothers don't know this.
Can I ask, from a cultural point of view, because I know certain, for example, you might have your whole pre-COVID in the hospital, you might have husband's extended family, mother's extended family coming in, the women giving all their advice to this new mum. Culturally, does that affect certain people from Singapore as well? Like, do you find your foreigners, because they haven't got that extended family, are more likely to do a certain thing? Yeah,
look, I mean, if you think about it, in Singapore and a lot of the Asian nations, our moms or our parents were not breastfed. And so, and they probably didn't breastfeed this generation as well.
Okay.
So because of the fact that a lot of us in this generation were not breastfed and formula fed because it was the fad, they can't support the new mothers in their decisions to make. So that's why the hospital needs to be able to give this information to the mothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I can imagine some of the mothers will say, oh, your milk hasn't come in. It's okay. Have formula.
Yeah.
You had formula. Like, I gave you formula.
Yeah,
so
there's nothing wrong with you, is there?
Yeah. That's very interesting. So because that's really bad, isn't it? Formula was sold as better than breast milk sometimes.
A lot of the times.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the money to buy good food in that generation. And I'm talking about the 1960s, 1970s. And because they didn't have access to really good food, they were eating out most of the time. They had, just a lot of carbohydrates, of just plain vegetables. Nothing wrong with that, to be honest. But they were sold to them that your breast milk is not good enough.
Isn't that sad?
It's nasty.
Yeah. Because obviously there's cases when you can't breastfeed, and it's amazing that formula is available.
Yes.
But if you can breastfeed, most women would probably want to breastfeed.
Yes.
So to be told that your breast milk's not good enough.
Yeah. And also, I suppose they all had to go back to work very early. Singapore was still a developing nation at that time, and we needed the mothers to go back to work to be whatever they were working as.
And pumps weren't, good electric pumps were not a thing.
Good double electric breast pumps were not a thing at that point in time.
So there's no way that they would have been able to express the milk to leave for their baby. So they were very thankful that there was formula.
Yeah.
But formula was probably expensive as well. So you had these people that didn't have that much money, that were having to buy this expensive formula when they could actually be producing.
So there are generations of women who are brought up on condensed milk or rice water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was cheaper.
Because it was cheap, and that was the only thing that was available.
Yeah. Okay. So things like rickets and that rickets is vitamin D, isn't it? But other childhood diseases of not having the nutrients from formula or breast milk.
Yes.
Could be a problem for some people then?
Yes,
They'll
absolutely.
be deficient in things.
So we're seeing much less of that because of the education that the hospitals are giving mothers right now. And hopefully, yeah.
And what about the hospitals that aren't on board? Are you like tapping away at them?
We're trying to.
Yeah.
We're trying to very hard. We're trying to support them. I mean, obviously, the big pharmas do pump in quite a significant amount of money into these hospitals, and that's one of the drawbacks, right?
Ah.
Yes, and also I suppose if they're smaller hospitals, they might not have enough capacity to be able to shut down their nurseries and ensure that the mums and the babies are not separated. See, if you have mother and babies together, you actually need wider spaces between the beds. And if you were already in a 4-bed ward, it just might not be enough space there.
And typically, if you have good private healthcare, you might have your own room. But if you're in a government hospital
or a subsidised
then you might be in a room of 4. So there might be, which is the same as in the UK when you're on the NHS, you'd have other newborn babies. So okay, so that is a big consideration.
It is a bit of a consideration, but if you think about it, when mummies are with their babies don't tend to cry very much. Have you noticed?
Yeah, especially when they've just been born.
Yes,
they don't do anything. Just do black poo sometimes.
Yes, and that's all. It's harder to clean off, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but I was actually surprised. I was at one of the hospitals that you've mentioned that doesn't have you guys coming in. And they were often trying to take the baby away to the nursery to do things. And I had to say, you don't need to take the baby away.
You can do it right here.
Do it right here. And if they did go, I sent my husband in with them.
Yes.
It was all very strange until I got my hospital bill. And I realised, because every time she stepped foot into the nursery, they were able to bill. So for number 2, I'm going to go in with my list of demands. They're going to push me out the door when it's time to discharge.
Yes, they're just not going to be able to charge you for it.
Or maybe I'll have a home birth, water birth. I'll speak to my doctor about it.
Yes, you should.
And you were talking a little bit about grassroots.
It's called the Breastfeeding Mother Support Group.
So BMSG.
BMSG, there you go. Well done.
Got it.
So that's a mother support group, and it works with a community of mothers.
Yeah.
So what happens is we've got peer counselors, so mothers like you and I who would then undergo breastfeeding training and counselor training to be able to support these mothers.
So someone might have had a great experience and really want to share their great experience, or they want to share the struggles that they overcame to help someone else overcome.
Well, they don't need to share struggles with you. What they need is to be able to give you the information for you to then make the best decision for you and for your baby. Because not everyone can fit into your shoes, is that right?
I suppose everyone is different. Every single journey
is different.
Yeah.
Yes, we call it something positive regard. I can't remember.
Cue musical interlude. Dr Mythili remembers. It'll come to you in a bit.
It'll come to me.
But it's a Singapore run company. But I noticed, because I did go on the website, it's a charity.
It's a charity.
There are people from all walks of life on the board and as members as well.
Yes. Yeah. So we've got a marketing person, we've got a person who works with another charity, we've got doulas, we've got doctors, and we've got actually 2 doctors now. We've got people who are accountants and bankers who actually just want to help mothers. So this is all voluntary. There's no monetary exchange except when you come in for a workshop, and then you need to pay for the rental and all of those things. But it's really just a free service that we provide for mothers.
Yeah, that's amazing to know, because there's not many free services anymore.
No.
Everything tends to be quite expensive, so that must be a very good resource for people that are in need, either if they can't afford to pay for it or just they're in a struggle and they need some advice and support.
Yeah. So there you go, the Breastfeeding Mother Support Group.
Breastfeeding Mother Support Group. I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Really, the last thing I want to talk about is you are, as we said before, many things. So lactation consultant, GP, member of the Breastfeeding Mother Support Group.
Well done.
and you're a mummy. So how do you manage it? What does your day look like?
Oh gosh,
because you don't look stressed.
Oh, thank you. The makeup works. I start my days really early. I start them usually at 4:30 in the morning. So yes, friends of mine who get really early texts At 4:30, they know it's probably Mikey, and they just turn it off and put it away. But yeah, 4:30.
So you set your alarm, or your body just goes, time for a day?
I usually wake up before my alarm because it's been many years.
Yeah.
So what I do is I do a bit of yoga. I sit down quietly because there isn't a lot of quiet in this household, and yeah, just chill out for a bit. What I also do then is write little notes for the kids to put in their lunch boxes.
Oh,
I know
that's so
it's something I like doing.
Yeah. How do you find the inspiration? Something new every day, or do you just recycle?
No. So I base the information so it's just little notes, right? On books that we've read the night before. So last night we read a book about elephants and how this elephant had ventured into the African safari from a zoo. And so I had notes about elephants. Yeah,
that's good. And good inspiration as well.
Did you know that elephants are the only animal on Earth that cannot jump?
No.
There you go. You might need a note too.
I'm going to write my husband a note in his lunchbox tomorrow. Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
Can they run? Sort of.
They can run, but they can't jump.
Gosh, because they're so heavy.
Yes, yeah.
Probably is an anatomical reason why. As a physio now, I will have to research it.
There you go. See, fodder.
Yeah. That's great.
So yeah, then what else do I do? So then I get the kids ready for school, and they go to local school, so it starts very early. Yeah, so I head into work pretty early as well.
Yeah.
I catch a little bit of Netflix in the car before I head into work.
Yeah.
And then work starts. So I usually end my days at 1:00, and then again, I call myself a part-time doctor and a full-time mummy, because at the end of the day, I pick the kids up from their various activities, and we come back home.
Yeah. And do you go to bed very early?
Yeah.
You must do, surely.
I do.
Else you're Wonder Woman.
Yeah. No, I have to. I'm usually zonked out by 9:30 or so. Yeah. So I fall asleep with the kids.
Yeah?
Yeah, I need to.
Dreaming about elephants not jumping.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, no, I love my life. I this is what I've envisioned for myself. And of course, I'd like to see a lot more mummies and babies and breastfeeding, clients and more patients in the clinic. But this is where I am at, and this is what I always wanted to be.
Yeah. It's your balance.
It is my balance.
Yeah. Wow. Well, anybody that gets up voluntarily at 4:30 is a power mom.
And not breastfeeding.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'll text you now at 4:30 and be like, I'm up too. Not by choice. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story and for joining us. I've really enjoyed our talk.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.